Real talk for a second. Marcus is doing everything right. He wakes up, goes to work, doesn't blow money on dumb stuff. He even, and I want you to appreciate this, he even set up an automatic transfer. Every single payday, 20% of his income gets swept out of his checking account before he even sees it. Into savings. Gone. Safe. Most people can't even do that. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck, spending everything they make, crossing their fingers at the end of the month. But not Marcus. Marcus is disciplined. Marcus is responsible. Marcus is doing the thing every financial guru, every personal finance blogger, every self-help book ever written has told him to do. And yet, 10 years from now, Marcus is going to be broke. Not broke like can't afford coffee broke. Broke like worked a decade, sacrificed a decade, saved diligently for a decade, and somehow ended up further behind than when he started. And nobody warned him. Not his bank. Not his employer. Not even the people telling him to save 20% in the first place. Here's the thing. The advice isn't wrong. Saving is good. But saving alone, without understanding what's quietly happening to that money while it sits there, is one of the slowest, most polite ways to go broke that exists. And today, we are going to break down exactly why. Because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. All right, let me introduce you to the villain of this story. And I want to be clear. This villain doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show up with a warning label. It's not dramatic. It's actually kind of boring looking, which is exactly why it gets away with it for so long. Inflation. Now, before your eyes glaze over, stick with me, because most people think they understand inflation, and most people are only about 30% right. Here's what people think inflation means. Prices go up. Gas costs more. Groceries cost more. Your rent goes up every year. That's inflation. And yeah, that's part of it. But here's what people miss. Inflation doesn't just make things cost more. Inflation makes your money worth less. Those are related, but they are not the same thing. And that difference is everything. Think of it like this. Imagine you've got a $100 bill. Today, that $100 buys you a full cart of groceries. Now imagine you put that $100 bill in a drawer and leave it there for 10 years. Come back, open the drawer. Still $100, right? The number hasn't changed, but now that same $100 only buys you maybe $70 or $75 worth of groceries because prices have crept up over the decade. The money looks the same, feels the same green paper, same number. But it's been quietly pickpocketed. That's inflation. It's not stealing the money from your wallet. It's stealing the value out of the money that's already in there. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Your savings account, the one Marcus is so proud of, is almost certainly not keeping up. Okay, let's run the actual numbers, because this is where it gets real. The average savings account in the U.S. right now is paying somewhere between 0.4 and 0.5% interest annually. Some online banks will give you a bit more, maybe 4 or 5% if you shop around right now, though those rates fluctuate with the Fed. But for the sake of this conversation, let's be generous and say your savings account is earning you 2% per year. That's being optimistic for most people. Now, the Federal Reserve targets an inflation rate of 2%. 2% is considered healthy, normal, the goal, which means in a quote-unquote good year, a year where inflation is exactly where the government wants it, your savings account is earning you exactly the same as inflation is eating. You are running on a treadmill, full speed, getting nowhere. But here's the thing. We haven't had normal inflation in a while. From 2021 to 2023, U.S. inflation hit levels we hadn't seen since the early 1980s. It peaked at over 9% in mid-2022. 9%. And even as it's come back down, it's been stubborn. Grocery prices, rent, insurance, these things didn't go back down. They just stopped going up as fast. So let's look at Marcus over a 10-year window with realistic numbers. Marcus earns $60,000 a year. He saves 20%. That's $12,000 a year going into savings. Over 10 years, he's put in $120,000. Plus, some interest. Let's say his savings account compounds and he ends up with around $130,000 in there after a decade. He feels great. He saved $130,000. That's real money. Now, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that's the government's own data, shows that the cumulative inflation from 2014 to 2024 was roughly 34%, meaning something that cost $100 in 2014 costs $134 in 2024. So Marcus's $130,000? In terms of what it can actually buy, in terms of real purchasing power, it's worth closer to $97,000 in 2014 money. He saved for 10 years. He put away $120,000 of his own dollars. And in real terms, he's down $23,000 worth of purchasing power. 10 years. Down. That is not a savings account. That is a slow leak. Look, I want to be real with you for a second because this isn't just a math problem. It's a psychology problem. There's this concept in behavioral economics called money illusion. And the name is perfect because that's exactly what it is. An illusion. Money illusion is when we focus on the face value of money, the number, instead of its actual purchasing power. The number in your account goes up, so your brain tells you you're doing great. But your brain isn't accounting for the fact that the purchasing power of each of those dollars is quietly declining. Your brain sees the number, not the value. And your bank is very, very happy to let you keep making that mistake. Think about it. When you log into your banking app, what does it show you? Your balance, a number. It does not show you, here is what this number can actually buy you today compared to 5 years ago. That information exists, but nobody's putting it in front of you. Because if they did, you might stop feeling so comfortable. You might start asking harder questions. You might move your money somewhere else. This is not a conspiracy theory. I am not that guy. But I am saying that the entire saving system is built around making you feel secure while your money quietly loses ground. And most people go their entire lives without running the real numbers. The worst part? The people giving the advice aren't even wrong technically. Save 20% of your income is solid advice. The problem is what's left unsaid after that advice. And what's left unsaid is costing people decades of financial progress. Here's the part that really gets me. And I think this is the part that most people, even financially literate people, haven't fully reckoned with. We talk a lot about compound interest working for you. Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. You earn interest on your interest. Your money grows exponentially over time. You've heard this. It's real. It works. But inflation compounds too. Inflation doesn't just take 2% from you in year one and then stop. It takes 2% in year one, then 2% of the new, slightly higher prices in year two, then 2% again in year three. It's compounding against you. Every single year. Quietly, relentlessly. Let's use a simple example. $100 today. At 2% inflation compounded annually in 20 years, that $100 has the purchasing power of $67. You didn't lose $33. You lost 33% of your purchasing power on money you thought was safe. And that's at the Fed's target rate. When inflation runs hotter, like it did for the last few years, those numbers get uglier, faster. So when people say compound interest is the most powerful force in personal finance, they're right. But that power cuts both ways. And if your money is sitting in an account that isn't outpacing inflation, compounding interest is working against you just as hard as it could be working for you. The river is flowing in one direction. The question is whether you're swimming with it or against it. Look, I want to end this honestly, because I think too many finance videos sell you a dream that skips the hard part. This stuff takes time, The math works. It genuinely, powerfully works, but it works over decades. If you're 25 and you start investing today, by 55, you could have a genuinely life-changing amount of money sitting in the market. That's real. That's documented. That's math. But if you're 35 or 45 and you're just now having this realization, that's okay too. You are not behind forever. You are behind where you could have been, but you're ahead of where you'll be in 10 years if you don't start. The second best time to plant a tree is today. That saying exists because it's true. And here's the thing about Marcus. The reason I spent this whole video following him, it's because Marcus is not the problem. Marcus is doing his best with the information he has. The problem is that the information he was given was incomplete. He was told to save 20% and pat himself on the back. Nobody sat him down and said, hey, here's what happens to that money if it just sits there. Here's why that's not enough. Here's what you need to understand about inflation, about investing, about the difference between storing money and growing it. That's the conversation that needed to happen. And if nobody had that conversation with you before today, I hope this was it. You are not going to outsave inflation. You are going to outinvest it. The tools exist. The data is on your side. The only thing standing between you and financial progress is understanding the game well enough to play it right. Marcus is going to be okay, and so are you. But you have to start. If this video made something click, share it. Seriously, send it to the friend who's proud of their savings account but has no idea about any of this. Send it to your sibling. Send it to your parents, because the more people who understand how money actually works, the better off everybody is. And if you want to go deeper, we've got more videos covering exactly how to set up that index fund account, what a Roth IRA actually is, and why it matters, and the specific steps to build wealth even on an average income. I'll link those below. Don't save yourself broke. Go build something real.